Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the ETHO online session, Future Fashion Education. We're going to wait a couple of minutes for everyone in the waiting room to join in. And while we wait, we have prepared for you a glimpse of the ELIA Emerging Artist Showcase, where we celebrate the talents of future generations emerging from the ELIA member institutions. The audio work is by Anastasia Foxa from the Department of Graphic Arts at Vilnius Academy of Arts. So we go with the official start and the official welcome. Welcome everyone and good afternoon to the ETHO online session, Future Fashion Education. My name is Amalia Svirtniotti. I am the community manager at ELIA, and it's my pleasure today to welcome you and introduce you to the topic of this online ETHO session, where we turn our attention to future-oriented fashion education. Together, we will reflect today on the ideas of analog versus digital and the challenges when teaching for digital literacy. We will also look at how the digital tools offer a crucial opportunity for shaping a more sustainable, inclusive, and diverse future in fashion. Before we deep dive into today's topic, and my colleagues will share also the slide on the screen with the practical information and the technical guidelines for the session today. For any questions you might have at any time during the session, please use the chat function to share those. Feel free also to share any thoughts or comments that you might have via the chat. Interact freely with your colleagues, the presenters, and contributors as well. We would kindly ask you to mute your microphone when you're not speaking and use the hand up function when you would like to speak. The session is recorded and we will become available online in the coming days. We will also be sharing that with you. We are using a live transcript function. If you would like to enable that, click on the live transcript button at the bottom of your Zoom screen and select Show Subtitle. The provided subtitles can then be clicked and dragged to move their position in the meeting window as well. And my colleagues will also include more technical information on that in the chat so that we have that there. We have a full and a very exciting program for today with presentations, discussions, and a panel conversation. It's my pleasure to start to kick off the conversation and introduce you to our moderator for the day, Alce van Meer. Alce is a senior lecturer at the Willem de Koning Academy in Rotterdam, University of Applied Sciences, and a member of our ETHO core group. Alce will be guiding us today through the session. A very warm welcome, Alce, and thank you for organizing this wonderful program today. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Oh. Yes. Hi, everyone. So today I have the pleasure to be your moderator, and I have to start to saying that this session is quite special to me because I'm closely involved on two levels. I'm a core member of ETHO, the working group within ELIA that's organizing this webinar, and I'm also the project lead of the MIU-US project at the Willem de Kooning Academy. So I'm double excited to be here with you today. First, I will give you a short introduction to ETHO, followed by an overview of MIU-US. After that, we will move on to 3 presentations and we'll end the session with a conversation involving all of our presenters. So let me start to begin with ETHO. So ETHO is a working group and network within ELIA focused on empowering professionals in technical services and art educators from all disciplines. So it's a network, a group where we come together to exchange ideas, innovate and collaborate on new challenges in technical education. And one of the ways we do this is by organizing symposia. And here you can see a photo from one of our latest events, the symposium Crafting the Future. This symposium took place in March this year in Riga, in Latvia, and it featured a wide variety of presentations and topics, all exploring how emerging technologies are transforming making practices and what we can learn from each other in this evolving landscape of technical education. We also organize webinars that focus on very specific topics. So our most recent one was about the material practice in biolabs. It was great. If you're interested, you can find a video of this on the website of ELIA. So anyway, if you also want to know more about ETHO, I encourage you to visit our website. But today we're focusing on the future of fashion education, and we'll be sharing some exciting results from the MIUS project. And the MIUS project is a 3-year Erasmus-funded research project that began in 2022 and runs until August 2025. And this project is a collaboration between the Golding School of Design in Denmark, the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia, and the Willem de Kooning Academy in the Netherlands. Our main goal: to develop 9 bachelor-level course modules for fashion and textile programs across these partner institutes. One of the key benefits of MIUS has been professional development. Through the train-the-trainer sessions, we've deepened our expertise and strengthened collaboration between technical and teaching staff. And we've been working closely with international partners, or collaborating with international partners has given us valuable insights into different teaching methods and educational approaches. We've also received very important feedback from creative industries and creative professionals, and their insights have helped us fine-tune the content of our modules, and they shaped the materials and strategies we've been developing. And the broad network of experts has been essential to our project's success. And at the core of the MIUS is the belief that digital tools hold incredible potential for creating a more sustainable, inclusive, and diverse future in fashion. So by combining critical thinking and collaboration with industry leaders, we are investigating the role of virtual and hybrid fashion. And we question also how these developments might impact the industry. So I said already, the main outcome of the project is a collection of 9 course modules, and they're focused on implementing digital tools in fashion bachelor programs. And we share these results, very important, via our website. And on our website, you can find course descriptions, day-to-day plans, tutorials, handouts, interviews, pedagogical approaches, theoretical frameworks and methods, and reflections. So we will put the website in the chat as well. So you can, after this presentation, you can find more resources. Today we'll be focusing on the 3 most recent modules we've been developing, grouped under the theme US. And these modules explore virtual and hybrid fashion and its future applications. So in the earlier modules, the me centered on personal development and the you centered on the other. Us is about positioning, both within the professional field and through interdisciplinary collaboration. And common themes across all modules include student-driven focus, interdisciplinarity, new technologies, and future visions and storytelling. In these modules, we've experimented a lot with a lot of emerging digital tools and technologies, such as 3D animation and immersive tech like VR and AR, and we even challenged AI. Here you can see a video of teachers participating in a train-the-trainer program using motion tracking suits in combination with Glow and VR tools. And we encourage students not to just use these tools, but to reflect on how they can shape the future of artistic fashion practices. And these modules also prompt students to consider the broader impact of technology on their profession, on their future profession. And we ask them to position themselves in the professional field. One where these digital developments play a critical role. So the aim of us, or the module, is to equip students with the tools and the mindset to work innovatively, while also reflecting on key challenges such as sustainability, inclusion, and diversity. And finally, storytelling also plays a vital role in helping students bring their future visions to life. Each partner academy takes a unique approach in this, as you can later see in the presentation. So Design School Kolding teaches speculative design methods, and the University of Ljubljana emphasizes future thinking. And at Willem de Kooning, podcasts were created that explore how makers today are already realizing future-oriented sustainable fashion practices. So I hope this gave you a good overview and sparked your curiosity. But I have said enough. Let's now dive into the presentations. And I would like to introduce Crystal. And Crystal is the big brain, actually, behind me, you ask. She all initiated it and brought us together. And Crystal is an educator, a really good one I've experienced, and the program manager of the fashion program. And Crystal is also part of the lab for social design at Design School Kolding. She already started implementing Glow 3D in 2018, and she has developed a lot of programs, teaching methods at the Design School Kolding. So, Crystal, I'm going to give you the words.
Thank you, Algie, for your very kind presentation and the great presentation to the course that we have, or the courses we've done together. It's been a great joy. I'm just going to share now, and I'm going to say, can you see my screen? Yes. Right. So, yes, I'm from Kolding School of Design, and what I'm going to show now is first an example more in depth with a little video, and from that tell how we developed the course, and also if time allows it, I'll show a couple of other examples of what was done in this cool future. So this is the what if done by a group. This was group work between fashion, textile, and accessory students, and they were working with speculative design, and therefore what if was their question to the world. So they wanted to focus on how much we actually just have of data out in the internet, and that we don't see the it's not physical represented, so we just kind of give it away, are not aware of it. So they wanted to make it a physical representation by making some clothes, some accessories, some textiles that could represent this. So I'm just going to show you the video where they envision a future way of purchasing other people's data, and then the algorithm will have made either an accessory for you or some textile and so on. So I'll elaborate a little bit, but let's watch the video first.
Crystal, I only see one slide. I don't see the video. Am I the only one, or?
Then I'll do something
We don't
about
see the
it. Thank you
video.
very much
Yes.
for pointing it out. I'll just go back and see if it works now in the sharing. I'll just stop sharing and then I'll start sharing again. Just a second. And let's see if it works now.
Yes, we see video now.
Good. Sorry about that. Going. I'll stop sharing again. I just like to switch. So, I mean, this was a bit of it in Danish. So I'm sure you didn't understand necessarily the language, but perhaps you understood the buying of data. So, I'm going to show you now some of the process done by this group called Future MILFs. And as you can see, they're textile, fashion, and accessory students working together. They have used various kind of digital tools in order to put this project together. And they tried to find their archetype customers, and they used AI for this. And then they wanted to make a website where you can go and buy your things from all the data you have others deliver to it. So in order to really understand this themselves, they did this little task where, as you can see, there's one person standing behind the other one sitting down, and they actually allowed each other to look at their search history on their phones. And as they say, it's like a feeling of loss of control, embarrassment, and exposure. So they're really trying to put themselves, sort of give themselves a physical sensation that we so readily just throw out the door when we agree to give our data away. So what they did further on from this is that then they started to categorize the data into search history, health journals, and photo galleries. And this is also what happens in the video. You can go and purchase, and it's drawn from another person's data they have agreed on. And if they don't agree, you have to pay for it. They also made a little workshop where students from the school could, for 24 hours, there was an open workshop taking care of themselves, where they could give their idea of what they thought of what was loss of control or what would be too much. So they based it also on the insights they got from there. And then they divided it into the fashion students working on the shape, the textile students, textiles, and the accessory made the accessories for it. As you saw, it all came together. This is from the process of making that landscape, the digital landscape, and how it could weigh you down. The idea then also has to present it into where do you imagine this could be, who could gain from these insights or seeing it. This is done as a presentation in a square in a town, and it could go on in a role of an exhibition. As part of this, also, they had to have the strategy of their sustainability and link it into some methods, into some theory about, and they chose the embedded storytelling, a local production, modularity, environmental friendly materials, and information as their guides to it. So behind this course was, this was run for the first time as it was developed together with the in the Me-US project. And it was an idea of doing a course on speculative design where the students, this is third-year students, where they are basing all their, they're gathering all their knowledge and adding also to it, but they are, it's going to be a self-driven, so they have introduced to a masterclass within AI and VR and AR. And from that, each group will take it further into which way they want to go within sustainability, which digital tools will make sense within their project. And it has to be, it's sort of driven so they themselves find their own way. They are, as you can see, as Algie also said, everything is available on the website. We have, yeah, in this case, yeah, I'm just showing the deliveries because the deliveries in this case was really pushing the progression of the actual course. So the students will have to have an agreement within the group. They will have to deliver rapid prototyping. They were sort of restarting the future every morning for 3 days in a workshop with speculative design and so on. This is also explained in the on the website. And one of the things they had to do was to map first their own skills and competencies, both hard skills, but also more soft, and their aspirations, what they wanted to learn. And then they combined it, like you can see, this is an example of what it could be like. This is just to sort of a short visualization of how the course was when it looks really plain and clean cut here, with the masterclass here first, with all the digital talks from both in-house, but also from our associated partners. And then there was a psychology helping them with forming the group. They had the speculative design workshop, and back into the groups to really get together and understand and make commitments. How are we going to work together before they went into concept experimentation and realization? This is another example where the question, well, what if we have to live underground because we're simply wearing the world down too much and we have to live underground? And what kind of outfit would we need then? And here the students got together and again worked with textiles and accessories and shape from fashion, and made a website where you can purchase the things you needed for protection and so on. And if you had to crawl around all day, because that was the idea, you wouldn't be able necessarily to stand up, you would be able to, you have to crawl around, you would need the protection for that as well. And a little bit about the process, about how to work in both Blender, Clo, and so on to get the design ready. The final little thing I'm going to show is this sensorial jacket. again, based on what if we need to leave a nature to simply leave it for a long time in order for it to regenerate, and we have to live outside nature, be underground again or whatever, we would need the sensorial sensations. So here it's a VR. Unfortunately, I can't show you the VR experience, but it's a VR experience where you see the things and then you touch the jacket that has various tactical qualities that is supported by the visuals as well. And this is a close-up of some of the various textiles and tactile things, both from digital printing and to digital weaving and so on. I just want to throw this out there because it's going to be in the presentation. This is also from a group where they did bioplast. If the world is overswum with algae, how do we then cope and make something of it? This is, as you can see, it's just for reference from you later, for also the website, social media, and so on. And then please feel free to reach out if you want to know a little bit more, because this was a very fast presentation into speculative design, digital literacy, and how we've done it here within the US. Thank you for your time.
Hey, Crystal, thank you very much for your presentation. Really inspiring. I also put a message in the chat. If there are questions from the audience for Crystal, there's a little bit of time now for a question. I don't see a question yet. So then I'm gonna have a question for you, Crystal. Really great and diverse projects. I was wondering, you were mentioning in the program I saw you put some attention on speculative design. I was wondering, can you tell a little bit more about these speculative design methods and how this influenced the projects? Or can you say something about it? What do we have to envision? What is this about, the speculative design methods?
Yeah, I mean, it is, in general, they had a 3-day workshop, and each day they were presented to various methods within speculative design and how you can envision, if you try to envision, you take it to the future, what will happen in the future? You can sort of distance yourself a bit from the present, but still you'll be addressing the present problem as such. So every day they had new methods, new ways of trying to work out the speculative, what if this was, what are the issues, what are the problems? And they had also prior to this mapped past futures. How have we in the past imagined the future would be? Would we be flying around in little cars? Would we be whatever, so on? So from that onwards as well, they were able to envision what if, and then every day they would finish the day with making a little prototype, and there are 3 different ways of making a prototype, and that will be like making a little thing, they'll be making a short little video, and next morning they'll restart again. Okay, forget about yesterday, let's address the same issues today. And then after the 3 days, they had been able to work together as a group to also voice what they thought could be a possible scenario to work from, with these key things we're talking about within social cohesion, sustainability within the 4 pillars, but also man as part of nature and digital, the digital world, and how everything is just exponential escalating. So
yeah. Great. Yeah. And also for the audience, if you want to know a little bit more about the details of the program, you can find this on the website, better or more in detail described. There's also a question from the audience. So the question is, can you elaborate on the sustainability perspectives?
Yeah. So in this, so for most of, I would say all the projects are more about the awareness and making others aware of the situation we could be in, or that we possibly are in some aspects. So it's instead of making the necessarily making the solutions for the sustainability issues, it was about making the awareness. So it's like if we are overswum with algae, or if we start living in if everything gets really cooled down, you'll be talking about that everything is heating in the with the CO2 emissions going up. But actually, it could be that we end up that actually everything gets really cold around at least our area if the Gulf Stream dies down and so on. So it was more about putting out awareness. Now we talk about the awareness here, for instance, in the video of making it physical, making it visual, how much data we use, because it's untangible in the physical sense. So therefore, we don't necessarily see it. It's the same if we don't see, say you live in a city, you don't see the algae problems and so on. So it's more of an awareness about what is going on and what could possibly needs to be taken actions on, more than actually making the solutions. The students they try to make bioplastic, as you can also see in the presentation, from the algae, and they try to drape it and it dries out and frustration arises because you won't do what you want to do with it. But again, it's if you put it out to others, if you're a visionary and put it out to others to help with the solution, then possibly something could come of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Crystal. We have to continue. We have a lot of other presentations. So the next presentations are by Anouk van Klaveren and Leroy Seresit van Halen from the Willem de Kooning Academy. They are my dear colleagues. So Anouk is an artist, a curator, and an educator at the Willem de Kooning Academy. And she explores fashion's absurd, magical, and seductive nature. And she sees fashion as a lens to address contemporary issues, casting philosophical and critical perspective on identity politics, hypercapitalism, and luxury. And Leroy is a Dutch fashion designer and a Dutch fashion researcher based in Paris. And since 2020, he's a fashion tutor at fashion design, and also he's teaching at a commercial practice at the Willem de Kooning Academy. He specializes in technical fashion design and production, where he explores the possibilities of digital tools and new innovative sustainable practices. Okay, but besides what they are doing, also beside their education, I mean, they're both great designers, artists. They did a really great program with the third years last semester, and they're gonna present these projects.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Altje. I will share the screen. You can see it?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, hello. Thank you for introducing Altje. Yeah, we'd like to take you through the course module that we developed here at Willem de Kooning Academy. So Leroy and me work in a team. So we developed the assignment together for the third year students. In contrast with some of the other institutions, we chose to have quite a long extended block. So it's a 15-week course in which students really sort of have a test run last before graduation. In the Netherlands, the bachelor's 4 years. So it's like their really like last big assignment before they go to graduate. So that's also why we've chosen to really focus on positioning yourself as a designer, and especially we wanted to encourage them to position themselves in relation also to these digital tools that they have been learning the past 3 years, but also how sustainability can be addressed in their practice. So what we have developed is an assignment in which they start with a contradiction that they observe in society. So a sort of friction between two components that they feel has something to tell about the society we live in or a topic they want to address. And this would be really the engine for them to start their design process. So in the beginning of the project, they start visualizing this, and then in a later stage, they really make a presentation that fits the scope of their project and work together on a big presentation. So next slide. Yes. So after the 15 weeks, they presented their works in the floating pavilion, which is quite a really nice showcase opportunity for them to really not only show their work in the context of school, but invite an outside audience to look at their projects and to get feedback, really present them as a professional and not as a student anymore. So it's a very exciting group effort for the whole class. Next slide. Yeah, so the learning goals of the project were to articulate a personal mission and urgency for their project in the context of sustainability, using virtual prototyping and high quality renders to develop a capsule collection, but also to give a direction to their mission as a creative. And then the goal was that they develop a collective process, so a fashion showcase in which they really work together to fund the project, to organize it, to think about how they communicate the project to the outside world, think about collaborators, but also how to get your digital projects into a space, into a really like an immersive experience for the audience. So that's what we really intend with the presentation part as well. Next slide. And then throughout the 15-week, we have developed several learning materials, which you can also find on the MIOAS website. So in our institution, we work quite closely with different stations where students really get technical instructions. So the interaction station had developed several workshops on working with VR, animation, Blender, but also how to use Unity. And then in the fabric station, we had some instructors who gave an in-depth course on Clothes 3D. So after working with the program for 2 years, they got to expand their knowledge really to mostly how to get your design out of Clothes 3D after you've designed something, but you want to make an XR or VR presentation. How do you then transition your design from Clothes 3D to other softwares, which makes this storytelling possible? And then, Alcho already mentioned it, we also developed a podcast series. The podcast series revolve around the 4 pillars of sustainability. So this is a structure introduced by Fashion Seeds, in which they sort of unpack different ways of practicing sustainability and different ways of looking at it. So from an economic perspective or cultural perspective. And each episode actually addressed like one of these pillars, but connected a practitioner from the Netherlands or Belgium that was actually working in this way in the contemporary fashion field. So this was also to make sure that it would really get like an example for them, an inspiring example. Then we had the last part of the course was more about the presentation skills. So we had workshops in press release writing, where students really formulate and articulate their mission, but also their goals in terms of sustainability, and also like finding the right words to describe their creative methods. And this went hand in hand with production meetings, which were more technical, like how to produce the event and how to make the best out of the collective work and surprise their audiences. Okay. Yeah, and then we have selected 3 projects from our students, because I think that shows best like how we worked and what were the outcomes. So next slide. So this is a project by our student Uzi, who is Surinamese, and her contradiction was Christianity versus Afro-spirituality. And how she went about it was that she collect different visuals of Afro-spirituality, but also the Sunday's best Surinamese attire. And combining these 2 realities were sort of the 2 visual components that made her design a new collection. So next slide. Yeah, so what was very key for her in addressing sustainability was a cultural perspective on sustainability. So it was very much about representation and the fact that she felt that her Black body was not so well represented in fashion, and that a lot of fashion magazines still are focused very much about Western perspectives on fashion and bodies. So what she did was using 3D scans to scan her own face, and she's been 3D printing the face to become a sort of adornment on the garments. So it was really sort of creating this stage for herself and addressing this question, like which bodies are represented and which bodies aren't. So for her, the virtual trajectory was really to create her patterns. So she was not so much into making a VR experience in the end, but she really used it to craft the patterns that she would need to execute it in real. So next slide. Yeah, so this is some more for work. Next slide. So eventually she presented the work during showroom in a fashion show where she invited other people from the diaspora to present her garments and really like take pride in the Surinamese heritage, and also using materials that she actually sourced from her country back home. Is really like a sort of way to also honor her heritage. Okay, next slide. Then this is a project by our student Nusha and Alan. For them, it was more like sort of philosophical approach to internal versus external self. And Alan has been so kind to make a short video for you where he introduces the project himself.
Hi, my name is Alan, and I'm excited to talk to you about my project. The contradiction that I explored was the tension between our inner selves and the external identities we show the world. Fashion can express who we are, but it can also pressure people into conforming, which can lead to losing their genuine self. This is personal for me because I faced this myself before I started fashion, and with this project I wanted to confront this issue directly, creating a concept that encourages self-reflection. For the RDM exhibition, I chose a virtual reality experience as my presentation form. Visitors could explore a museum-like environment I created and be fully immersed in the depth and complexity of our internal and external identities. As a maker, it's important to me that what I create reflects not just my aesthetic vision, but also my commitment to responsibility and care for each other. I primarily worked with Glow 3D, Blender, and Unity. Glow 3D, as you know, was used to make the garments by experimenting with patterns, fabrics, and color. Through Blender, I created the environment for the visual presentation, and Unity was used in converting my Blender file to an immersive virtual reality experience. Learning these digital tools gave me the freedom to push boundaries I never thought of having myself by telling richer and more immersive stories through digital fashion. I want to learn and become more knowledgeable of digital fashion design by exploring interactive experiences and virtual showcases to bring stories to life. These digital tools does not only help my ability to quickly prototype and visualize things, but it also helps with experimenting in different types of storytelling and reach audiences in new ways. So, how did the past assignments change my view on virtual fashion and digital methods? When I started studying fashion, digital fashion wasn't even on my radar. In the first year, I struggled a lot with the digital tools, which made me skeptical about it. But in my second year, we got introduced to more tools and gained more access to the digital process. I found myself immersed in a new world, challenging yet fascinating. And this year's project was full of trial and error. But I've enjoyed the journey and learned so much, and it's a new form of storytelling that intrigues me the most.
Yeah, so this was Alan, and he collaborated with with a classmate, Nusha. And what really worked well in their presentation was that they used VR to create this museum-like setting in which you can really feel very small. So all the characters and bodies were like 3 meters tall, and I think it's not really coming through the screen because it's like on your safe laptop, but like being immersed in this VR experience was really a way to have this sort of physical impact as an audience. Then I've got one more student project that we like to share.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
Are you still there, Leroy?
Yes, I am. I needed to reshare it. So, and this one. Oh, I don't know. Something is happening. Yes. Think this way. Yes.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so this is the student project by Jessica Loris, which was revolving around the color pink. So her contradiction was focusing on how pink can be both the color of oppression, but also a color of empowerment. And in researching this, she actually used Clue 3D to explore sort of military patterns and military fashion details in combination with this very soft pink color palette, which created a very interesting clash between worlds. The next slide. Yeah, so
Yes.
she will also introduce her project to you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Loris, and I'm here to talk about my collection Pink Out, which is a capsule collection that I made to embody the contradiction that the color pink holds, for me personally, but also from a social perspective. I chose the color pink because it holds a lot of symbolism ranging from oppression, gender performance, and pinkification, but slowly shifting into a symbol of feminism. And with my collection, I really want to put emphasis on the importance of reclaiming pink and seeking empowerment out of it. I love to use fashion as a medium of protest and radicalism. I like to portray satire, and I like to go very expressive about my standing points, to put emphasis on many societal issues that need to be addressed. During the process, I made use of Flow 3D in order to define the right silhouettes and the right proportions, the right material choices, and the right color palette. Also, additionally, it was very important for me to figure out the right print positioning, since I have a strong graphic value to my project. I could just drop in all the prints on Flow 3D and position them perfectly before printing them physically onto the real garments. As a designer, I am strongly driven by my feminist core values, and I like to use my art as a tool to express my social positioning, but to also criticize and analyze social structures. In my future projects, I am aiming to use more digital tools to expand my own expression and work more multidisciplinary. When we started the projects in year 1 and year 2, year 3, I really got to realize that there's so much potential in working mixed media and multidisciplinary as a fashion designer, and that digital tools nowadays really enhance the quality of my work, since Clo3D, Blender, Photoshop, and Illustrator really offer a nice platform to explore my entire collection, simulate it before actually executing it physically.
Good.
Yes. So this was
That was it.
Jessica. Yeah, I think to wrap up, what we really concluded after this journey of 3 years is that in the beginning for us, Clo3D was like a sort of promise of saving materials, maybe being very economic about like the amount of prototypes you're making. But actually throughout the 3 years, we really got more and more enthusiastic about actually the possibility of this virtual storytelling, which can really be a way to draw new perspectives and to really practice future thinking. So not what is fashion today, but what can it be tomorrow. So yeah, I think in our approach to sustainability, diversity, and inclusivity, we really found a strong direct connection with the student population that we actually have here in Rotterdam, and really try to empower them to find out, this is who I am and this is my voice and this is what I want to contribute to the world, instead of just like being economic about the amount of fabric use. So yeah, we're very proud to see our students like this.
Alte, you're still muted.
Hi. Thank you so much. Very interesting work. Leroy, we are a little bit over time, so maybe you want to add a little.
No,
bit?
I will just leave it for the later for all the questions.
And if the audience still has questions, save them. There will be time for it later. Then I would like to introduce Nasja. And sorry, Nasja, we've been seeing each other, but I never pronounce your surname, so I'm going to try it. Nasja Zagaden Girmek. Nasja is very experienced as a digital designer. She's working in the industry for more than 12 years. She has worked as a creative pattern cutter for various luxury brands in London and Zurich. So she's very skilled in digital pattern making and virtual sampling. And she's currently working at the Faculty of Natural Sciences and Engineering at the University of Ljubljana, where she teaches fashion design and creative pattern cutting. So Nasja, I would really like to give you the words, and
Thank you for the introduction, Alge. I will not waste the time and will try to share my screen as soon as possible. Hopefully you see my screen.
Yes, we see your screen.
Yeah, you do. Amazing. So hi there, my name is Nastia Sagadin Gurmek, and I will present you the module 3 today, which we prepared and implemented at University of Ljubljana. Mainly our focus was to dive into virtual fashion, artificial intelligence a bit, and imagining virtual touch while exploring students' creativity, of course, within these virtual worlds. In this presentation, I will explain about the module US, talk you through the module description a bit, and through the deliverables, and on the end, I will mention also some students' reflections. I will briefly explain how we formed the module, as this is quite important part of our project. So we wanted to focus on three main questions. Those were, who are we? Who are we in relation to AI and other digital technology? And also, who are we to each other? And I believe that this last question was very important to us as teachers when we were forming and planning the module. We were thinking the ways how to be most inclusive with our students as well, while shaping this module called US. So we decided to invite them to participate in organization. We asked them about their feedback from the previous modules, their preferred ways of working, what they wish to focus on in terms of like virtual reality, maybe AI, and in general to share some ideas for this new project. This collaboration was well accepted, of course, and we later implemented so-called US Days. We had two of them, one organized by the teachers in form of a workshop in the nature, and the second one was organized by the students, so where we gathered and they prepared a roundtable discussion with experts from the industry on topics of virtual design, in general digital design, and they also kind of touched upon the 3D printing as well. I think this was mostly because of the sustainable aspects and questions around 3D printing. It was important to us to offer diverse set of knowledge to our students, so we collaborated with two additional courses this year and additionally really collaborated with the experts from the Chair of Information and Graphic Arts and Technology. And for this project, particularly, we connected and brought some new experts in from the Faculty of Computer and Information Science. This is perhaps topic where we felt we are lacking on information, so we brought in some experts for some lectures for our students. We also invited young artist Jana Zornik, who is working with new materials and whose works really explores the emotional and sensorial dimensions, I would say, of the human experience in general. We wanted for the collaborations to broaden our knowledge in areas of artificial intelligence, especially, and virtual reality, and get students thinking about the theme of this virtual touch that we imagine we will be working around. Moving to the module description and deliverables. So the module was practiced within 5 different subjects and was delivered in like 3 segments, depending on the intensity of the course. Altogether, students work on the project for about 11 weeks, but this was part-time, of course. They mostly worked in Claude 3D and in Blender. And just quickly put, outcome of the project was for the pair, so students worked in pairs to create a virtual animation. I suggest we have a look in one of the projects, so it will be easier to understand what we did. Perfect. Oh, voilà, I'm sorry. This is jumping. So this module provides a structured approach to developing a conceptual vision of a speculative future environment and an imaginative avatar incorporating carefully designed either garments, accessories, everything essential for the survival in the future. We guided students through specific topics while encouraging, obviously, independent exploration. So there was a lot of self-study for students. We prepared various lectures and workshops, and in one they engaged with their primary senses. This was the one I mentioned on the beginning on our Us Day in the nature. So they were connecting with primary senses like listening, touching, observing, smelling, tasting. The focus was really on being present and in the moment, and imagining what the meaning of the virtual, perhaps, touch could be while they were actually physically feeling all the senses. Students listened to the lectures on topic of current movements, tendencies, and strategies of modern and contemporary art, from conventional forms of visual art to performative practices and conceptual connections with other fields of art and design, so not necessarily just fashion and textile. They started the project very much manually, which is worth mentioning on that point. They were creating physical textures, forms, and materials, depending on where they were and what was important to the groups. They, for instance, watched movie Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, which sparked deeper reflection on humanity's place in the cosmos and our perception of the time, really. We felt this was really much quite connected to the thinking and reflection of the future students might have. Students were later assigned to create scenarios and storyboards integrating fashion design concepts with the avatars, textures, futuristic space setting, we call them environments. So they were preparing those storyboards to start and really think about their story in the future. Many created mood boards with AI software, whatever they kind of were used to use so far. And I think in this case, I'm showing here, this is Alia's and Tina's work here from the animation you saw. They were more comfortable working with their own digital collages, so the way they are used to work, so they felt they had more control, maybe not using AI at that stage. They created a collection of avatars with garments and accessories in their case that they felt are very much base for their speculative design and survival for the future. The couple chose one model to create it in Claude 3D. They used some avatars that they felt is suitable enough for their vision, but they knew they will redesign them and design them later in Blender. So they focused mostly about the garment. So even though the collection lineups were quite artistic for art students, they worked from those collages or sketches and made garment reinterpretations in Claude 3D, so reinterpretation of their idea. Alia and Tina decided to go with three-piece outfit you saw in animation before, and they completed it in Claude 3D. This is how it looked at that point. They did not use materials, textures, and color palette, but they used this and explored this in Blender. So this was the first year they started to learn in Blender. So Alice and Tina's project explored the future in close connection with humans and society, how the individual becomes a victim of herd mentality and day by day destroying the world and themselves really, while simultaneously experiencing an instinct for survival really, which was very much essential for them. A sense of self-destruction is interviewed with technological innovation that could help them to survive really, and these extreme opposites raising the question of the race against the time, who will prevail, the human who saves themselves or the human who destroys themselves and everything else in the future due to AI and all this new technology that is upon us at the moment. And then this is, in the Blender, they created also an environment, and here you can see some storytelling, some starting ideas really from the design process. They created also physical models that you can see here on the photo, so they understood really what textures they wanted to explore virtually. They felt that this is more how they can connect to this virtual touch if they actually physically were able to direct it somehow. And in their story, this individual is viewed as an individualist and is placed in a desert-like environment, saturated with waste and filth discarded by society that we become. Those are some more renders from the Blender you saw. Here I want to mention also maybe students in this module also focused on current issues that every creator is facing, I believe. Those are primarily questions of originality, questions that also include a self-critical attitude towards one's own role in the context of designing, fashion designing, or creativity in general. Particularly highlighted issues maybe of finding inspiration in works of others or appropriation of the use of artificial intelligence and use of AI in our own works. I still have a minute maybe just to show quickly another really short presentation, but obviously welcome to have a look in more students' work we created in this module on our website, Alja mentioned before. So you will see our students worked on different ideas, storytellings. They created different moods, vibes, and ideas. Oops, sorry. And as I mentioned on the beginning, I have brought in some 3 really short reflections from our students. We did not gather bigger ones, but I think those are worth mentioning. The last module was extremely useful in shaping a comprehensive vision of the project. The newly acquired knowledge in the field of 3D design opened up additional possibilities for virtual expression. And maybe regarding the sustainable design, if we check how much power and waste water is used working digitally, you began to question if virtual fashion really is a more sustainable or we just don't see the waste. And that's the one I wanted to put in, because I think students on this module, they focused a lot on questions like this: critical thinking, what is really sustainable, is digital really sustainable, is virtual sustainable, and those were like big questions they had and discussed among each other. I think this one was interesting. By now, I understand the process of virtual design better and was able to reduce unnecessary steps. I think this was referring to the third model and how this 3-year journey was maybe a long journey, but important journey. And by now, they are kind of understanding how everything made sense, and all that they learned, especially in Clo 3D. All we talked about: inclusion, diversity, sustainability, environment in general, that they came up nicely in the third module for them. And I think one positive one, it's easier to create speculative scenarios digitally, which I think was really nice, because I think mostly students felt that it made sense that we worked digitally on this speculative imagining of the future. So yeah, this was it from my side today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was
Esther.
rushing through the presentation. Thank you.
No, it was really good to follow, and so again, so many different works of students. It's amazing. Maybe it's also nice to if the other presenters can join so we can. I think it's nice to maybe have a discussion amongst us as last part of this session, and also for the audience, if you still have some questions or remarks, that's also possible. Please put them in the chat so we can include this in the conversation. Yeah, I actually have a question for you all. Maybe one of you want to respond. I think as you can see in the different presentations, yeah, the MIUAS education and the different modules landed very differently in the institutes, and the MIUAS project gave us the opportunity to collaborate with each other. And I was wondering, what did you learn from each other? So there are a lot of difference, but what did you learn from each other? Maybe Leroy, you can start.
Yes. Well, of course, it is always a privilege to work together with other institutions, because I think everyone here can kind of recognize that when you're very much immersed in a particular culture or educational culture, you often think like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong or something isn't working. And what really for me was the biggest gift is that even though in Ljubljana or in Kolding, they had very different pedagogical approaches at times. We all ran into similar kind of questions. So that was really nice that,
What kind
it's
of
not just
questions?
you.
What
Well, for
what kind of
example,
questions?
at one point we had a meeting also about it earlier on in the project, the resistance sometimes with students into taking on these new skills. And sometimes you think like, oh, I did something wrong, or we did something like it must be maybe the way how we go about it. But then if you see that even internationally there's big tendencies or these dynamics that you see that even in different countries this is going on, and that gives hope, and that
Yeah.
also gives strength, and you can discuss it with each other, and you can also acknowledge it, and then make it you maybe a bit more relative, but also then come up with a plan together. And I think we've done that quite successfully, because I think also through all the different models, we also really refined this, and because we really learned from each other. And I think really talking with each other, that's the biggest gift in that sense, because it is so much transition going on at the moment, and it is easy to feel alone in that. So really, community for me was really the most important outcome from this research project.
Crystal, do you want to also say something about what you learned from the different partners, and maybe also Lyra's mentioning the how students respond to the program. So how do you think maybe you can elaborate on how did for students, because maybe for the audience they don't know, but the students which were in the MIUS project, they did all the modules. So they had me, they had us, you and us. So students were educated in digital tools from the first year on. And my question then for you, Crystal, will be, how did this influence their vision on their practice? And did your students in the end work more digitally, or did they have a more outspoken vision on that?
Yeah, okay, thank you. First, I'd like to say also as was Leroy was saying, that we learned so much for doing it together. And I must say that I personally really have enjoyed having somebody to talk about this with, because I have previously been rather alone, because also this is a new field. So just not just talking to myself, but actually getting somebody to come with critical points or their point of view has been really extremely beneficial. As for the looking back on the 3 different modules the students have been going through, I think the overall thing to say, at least for the modules from that we have done at the College School of Design, is that they have all been sort of a hybrid of both digital and traditional craft. So in that respect, I think it's been sort of supporting. Each has been the analog traditional has been supporting the digital and vice versa. And I think if I were to really be able to say if it's what it's meant, I think I would have to go with the totally just a course that was just digital, and we haven't done that. And what I can see is that a lot of the students will use Clo 3D for testing, as Anouk also said, or perhaps it was Nastya, I don't remember now, but it's like something you can use it for, not just saving on fabric and so on, but actually for testing. And it's easier to make a speculative design. It's easier to make a new thing and test it there. So they use that a lot. Our students, however, also very much as students would like to have their hands on material to drape for real, and to make, as you could see in the videos here, they like to actually make the materials as well. So they're kind of doing both. And I would say that it's probably mainly Clo they're using for the digital tool now, whereas the others, they have a knowledge and they have the skills of the body scanning and so on, but I haven't seen them implementing it after. So it's been I think it's more the how the courses have been put together in the hybrid that has supported them in being critical designers for all the good there is to being a critical designer.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat, and I really would like to put some questions from the audience to you. So one of the questions is from Caroline. How long did it take students to become competent in the use of digital tools, Clo 3D and Blender? How long did it take students to become competent in the digital tools? And then she says, Clo 3D, Unity, and Blender appear to be the preferred tools. And those of you working in the industry, what digital technology is the most important to learn? Maybe Nasha, you can answer this question.
Yes, thank you for the question, Caroline. So I can speak in terms of students from Ljubljana. It's worth mentioning as well that we joined MUAS project with the least knowledgeable in terms of the Clo 3D and virtual design. We did have a Blender before in our curriculum, but no fashion design really in terms of Clo 3D. And to answer your question, I think module 1 was, broadening enough knowledge for students to start creating creating and be creative within the software. They were able to create their own collections within it. This our first module, if I'm not wrong, it was, I think, 5 weeks long. You can have a look and you can see all the workshops we have done on the website, MIUA's website. And yes, we are using Blender because it's open source. That's the main reason that we started to implement it in our course. They started to use Blender, this generation started to use Blender in third year. So this was their first and the only project they've done in Blender. So what you saw. And in terms of the third part of the question was about the industry. So I would say depending on where you work and where this industry is really based. Cloro 3D is one of the biggest softwares, I would say, in my opinion. I had most experience with it, and it's widely used in industry, really. But there are also others. Leroy, would you like to add something on this?
Yes, this is. I think you have to maybe rectify something. Like we speak, of course, about Clone 3D, but we mean virtual prototyping. It's just that within the walls of the institute, and also Clo has been a partner, and also was quite gracious in lending us or giving us some licenses. So we use these words. Maybe that's a little bit. We mean really virtual prototyping. Students are aware that there are also different softwares, and we are also definitely aware that there are different things going on in the industry. And that's also definitely a part that's, and also students do this naturally, that they also reflect on the tools that are provided to them. And also, and that's actually really nice about the project, that there is this direct line, for example, with a company like Cloud3D, where we are able to give back some feedback, and they actually also listen to this. So yes, we have preferred tools, but that's also, we definitely in this research, we've looked beyond them as well. And it's also definitely a really big question that we are still struggling with ourselves. Like we are quite dependent in that sense with big technology, and how do you deal with that? And if anyone here has like a really great answer to that, we would also love to hear that. But this is the complexity of living in a digital society as a creator.
And maybe a following up question also from the audience is the question about the AI. So from Gloria, from NABA in Milan, she asked, in your experience as educators, how are students responding to the integration of AI into fashion design? Are you noticing more curiosity and enthusiasm, or is there resistance and hesitation? And how do you see this evolving in the coming years? Maybe Anouk, you want to say something about it? I think from my experience within the Willem de Kooning Academy, I think through MIUA's there's an opening to using these digital tools. But how do you see this? Okay, sorry.
As we were in the same room logistically. Yeah, well, I do see a lot of curiosity among our students to use AI, especially in image generation. I see a lot. So, for example, in our assignments where they had to sort of start with the different archetypes from the different contradictions they chose, it is really easy to sort of give it as a prompt to AI to generate new ideas. Yeah, I do think that many of them feel a bit hesitant in the way that they are not sure if they are the author or not, which is a very relevant question, I feel. And that's also something, yeah, we need to, as a society, need to redefine. I feel it's on all of our plates, this question of authorship.
Yeah. Yeah, if I may.
I think I've got my hand up.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes.
Crystal?
I think otherwise I'll fall asleep if I'm just watching. Now, I just want to say something about the, okay, I'll say something about the AI as well. And that is, and I think it goes with what we also have. We had a discussion, as you said, Leroy, that what have we achieved, where we're at now here 3 years into it, what did we think we were going to, and we thought we were going to teach all these various digital tools. But I think the most important thing is to not what you teach, but how you teach it, so the students have become digital literate, so they can actually go in and learn a new program. It doesn't matter whether it's CLO or another program, or it doesn't matter if you're working on a Mac or a PC. It's about understanding the digital world behind it. And the same goes for AI, that it's not just using, I mean, the easy thing is just using the tools already made, but it's understanding what AI is, that it's a set of data, it's a set of questions, the algorithm, and actually you can make your own you could set it up yourself. So our students in our course were set up on the first day, they had to set up their own AI as well, which was not, from a pedagogical point of view, was a leap too far. But the idea behind it, that you understand that you can actually own the data, that you can actually ask the questions, and thereby you can actually set up potentially an AI yourself, but also understand whereby data is taken. And then of course, as you say, Anoop, be critical about it as well. But really understanding behind the scene what it is, that it's not just magic, it is actually based on some existence and then some questions to it.
Yeah. Yeah, great ending words, I think, because we're out of time. I'm sorry for that. I wanted to ask you a lot of more questions about also how you bring your experiences and learning to the future. But I can say that we have some follow-ups, so we can prolong the conversation. I wanted to share with you that for the Dutchies in the in the audience, there will be a multiplier event organized by the Willem de Kooning Academy on the 21st of May. I will put the URL in the chat. For people who are close to Slovenia, there will be a really interesting event in the beginning of June. And we have a final conference in the end of August, if I'm correct, the 25th, Crystal?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're interested, please reach out to us. You can join our newsletter, so you will see all presentations we're still gonna have. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Great that you were here, and I hope you enjoyed the session. And yeah, see you for the next one.
I take it as well. A huge thank you also from our side to Crystal, Anouk, Leroy, and Asta. It's great to hear the diverse perspectives, and thank you for sharing your perspectives from the Me, You, Us project. Special thanks always to Alce for moderating and for developing this session as well. We have lots of ELIA events coming up. You can see them also in the screen. It would be great to have you with us there. And who knows, a third session on future fashion might also enter the mix. Last but not least, today's session was made possible with the support of Royal Talents, ELIA's official corporate partner. Big thank you for supporting us on that. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your vibes. Have a great day ahead, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you all.